Hello, my name's Tom Cahill. It's Saturday the 27th of July 2024. Right, this is all going to be about the pendulum swinging and how we know that it's swung, right? So you've got two actors, you've got Jordan Peterson, the thick person's clever person, right? Hashtag thick person's clever person, and Elon Musk, who's claiming that he's at war with LGBT, yeah? He's at war with LGBT. Now remember, we don't actually go to war with people anymore. We don't declare war unless it's on something that you cannot declare war with, such as the war on drugs. You can't have a war with a physical thing, can you? Right, anyway, so you've got Elon Musk, who's got his imaginary SpaceX, which is valued at, but it can't be valued because it's not real, right? It's all based on CGI. He's not going to the moon, he's not going to the Mars any more than Richard Branson was going to go to the moon with Michael Jackson and Bubbles. And we don't know what happened with the accountancy there, because I think that would that go down as an accrual? What happened with Richard Branson's mission to the moon? Anyway, well, the whole point is, if you believe this, you believe absolutely anything. The whole thing's completely fictitious. There's probably ways of finding out and actually proving it. But the fact is, it's on the stock market, isn't it? So, we know Elon Musk deals with things that aren't even real. And most people think that it's fine because they keep putting him on the TV and he keeps talking about it, even though it's clearly not real. And then they think, well, it must be real. He keeps talking about it. Like people say, no, Trump wasn't not shot. He must have been shot because someone else died. Yeah, of course, well, whatever. It's just thick people. You're dealing with thick people. They've got absolutely no brains, and they'll do anything to believe the most stupid story possible. The bigger, more stupid the story, the more they want to believe it. Right, anyway, so Elon Musk's talking about this imaginary kid of his who is estranged from him. So it's his imaginary friend, aka estranged child, who he's got, and has killed himself because he had puberty blockers during the lockdown because of COVID, which obviously wasn't real. And so then he's blaming it on LGBT because this kid wanted puberty blockers to become a girl or something like that, or a lady boy, I don't know. But anyway, so he's admitting that he's a terrible father who's sexually abused his kid. That's what I would say. Or he was so distant and remote from him that other people could sexually abuse his kid because he wasn't around. But of course it's all made up, so it's just like pedo role play. That's what it is, yeah, that's what it is. A bit of pedo role play by Elon Musk. So what he's doing, he's talking to Jordan Peterson. Now I don't really, my brain, yeah, has got this filter on it. And when Jordan Peterson, the thick person's clever person, never makes a point. My brain just starts, it's like a duck. You know, if you pour a bucket of water over a duck, the weight of the water might push the duck down, but the water just drips off, and the duck doesn't care. Does it? Yeah, it's exactly like that. That's what these idiots, when they talk, I just don't pay any attention to them anymore. I just pick out keywords that I can just might once in a while have to rebut for the purposes of third parties. The point is, the pendulum has swung, and this is exactly like, and it's happened at the exact same time, yeah, like with the Ukraine war that appeared the second the lockdown and all the COVID hysteria, and the yellow and blue must be good, the yellow and blue must be true, and then it was the yellow and blue Ukraine flag was everywhere. So you've got the little minions, yellow and blue, then you've got other things with yellow and blue, by the way. The Barbados flag, which is the same as the Ukrainian flag, that's a bit strange, with tridents on. The trident, the control system, that's what that's about. Shiva, the cult of Shiva, you know, the trident. Standing on the odious little cretin, isn't he? Which represents the ignorant and the profane and the people who are absolutely worthless. Which is what they think of the general public, aka the Goyim. Same concept, different, allegedly different religion. Right? So that's where we're going with this. So you've got Elon Musk talking to actor Elon Musk, who deals in fantasy and propaganda and mind control, dealing with Jordan Peterson, who allegedly worked for the UN. That's the official story. So they're rubbing it in your face. He's worked for the UN. He supports COVID-19 vaccinations and, of course, bird jabs. He'll like them as well. And at the same time, he's refusing to talk about the Holocaust that didn't happen again, because it didn't happen, so why would you talk about it? In lectures, he says he can't talk about it, which is actually true, because he's been told he can't talk about it because he's meant to be an intellectual, and people who are thick enough to think he is an intellectual, right, yeah, will value his opinion on a completely fictitious event, which a remarkably large amount of people still believe in. But can they really believe it, or is it just abject immorality? They just believe it because they think that's what they've got to do to get on in the world, which is dominated by lies, silly stories and low morals, right? Pretending to be thick is the antidote to caring. You pretend to be thick, you live a lie, you're never really happy, but at least you can pretend to go along with all the things that everyone else is pretending to go along with. Linking into, because it does relate to this, and this will change soon, the words people use often giving away what they're actually thinking. Like people saying, I don't want people to think I'm racist. Yeah, why did you use that word think there? You see, because it means they actually are racist. Yeah, not that it's necessarily a thing. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but the point is it's deceptive, because they're giving away the fact that they want to give a false impression to everybody. Yeah, that's what they're doing. It's an admission, it's a tacit mistaken, it's a tacit accidental admission that they are racist. And to be honest, most of them can't make head nor tail of it. They just don't want to be it because it's the worst thing ever, you know. And anyway, so with this thing with Elon Musk, he's saying that he's at war with LGBT. Completely meaningless. You can't be at war with a mental health problem or a series of mental health problems. You can't really be at war with a theme, a propaganda theme to destroy society. You can be at war with the people who are pushing it and who've planned it and made it clear what they were going to do a long time ago. People like Theodore Adorno of the Frankfurt School, who said if we can get them to listen to this shit, they'll be thinking it's normal to have sex with dogs in 2 generations. People like him, but he's dead now. But remember, there's the acolytes of him are still continuing. It's like Kinsey. Kinsey, a massive pervert. He got a film made in his honour. He's like the American Philip Schofield, isn't he? Liam Neeson. He always does the disinformation films, like the one about Schindler's List. So he's making out that he's a bit of a degenerate, but he had a heart of gold on one level. And then, but all the other stuff during the war was all true. Yeah. That's the theme that you're meant to take into your brain. Yeah. So you've got all these people set up to just completely mislead people. But then he also did one about Kinsey, and it's a really bit of a strange film. But he doesn't go on about. There's no mention of Kinsey financing experiments involving paedophiles abusing children, is there? There's no mention of his links to things like the OTO. There's nothing in there like that. There's no links about the fact that his charts in his book, which I won't go into now because it's not a nice subject, but they're quite clearly there for a certain demographic of people. And don't think it's paedophiles, it's Satanists, isn't it? It's quite clear. I've done a video on this. I've explained exactly how you can be sure. It looks like a star chart, and it's designed for them to harvest maximum adrenochrome possibly, but definitely negative, terrifying evidence of child sacrifice victims. Yeah. And how you can also harness it through sexually abusing them in certain ways. He's written a book on child sacrifice, child abuse, and it was funded by the US taxpayer, and now it's used as the basis. It's like a scientific law. Yeah, it's like Darwinian evolution or the Big Bang. Yeah, the big fuck your head up bang. Yeah, it's the big, it's a foundation which is completely false, upon which everything is based on it will be false. But in this case, everyone of course hates nonces, but he was a massive nonce. But we then use all of our care professions like social workers, teachers, you know, medical people, all these people, psychiatrists, psychologists, they all base all of their thinking off the foundation that everything in the Kinsey Institute is by default true, even though he was a massive nonce who financed like an industrial paedophile research apparatus. And as well, the Kinsey Institute has locked all its doors, so you can't go in there and get any of their records. You can't go in there and get their records. So it's the most unscientific thing ever, on the one hand, if you look at it from a legitimate person's perspective. But if you look at it on a more, let's call it cynical perspective, aka the real perspective, which has been demonstrated probably through what I've said here to be true, it's actually very scientifically sound if you're a paedophile, a Satanist, or some kind of extremely evil sick person. Then it's completely scientific, because it is scientific, but it's just got it shouldn't be getting public funding, unless of course you realise that public funding is to fund sick, degenerate stuff. Right, anyway, so this war on LGBT, we have to have a little digression again. The Stonewall riots, San Francisco, all this stuff, yeah. People used to go out and march because they thought it was for gay rights. They didn't want people getting beaten up. That kind of stuff. Someone's a bit girly, you shouldn't beat them up. I still agree with that. The problem is, the Stonewall riots in San Francisco were started by a load of paedophiles because the police, the San Francisco PD, were trying to shut down a child brothel. Right, so that is where Harry Hay, the founder of the gay movement in California, you have to kind of worship him, otherwise you'll get kicked out of school. It's on the curriculum. It's like you used to have to learn about Anne Frank and all that rubbish, right? Anne Frank died, didn't she? She died in a work camp of typhus, right? So she did exist, and then her dad got sued by another Jew, and the reason that the other Jew, who was employed as a ghostwriter, won the case is because he'd written his notes in ballpoint pen, which weren't available to Anne Frank when she was in the death camp, because they hadn't been invented until after the end of World War II. So when he said, no, my daughter wrote all that, it's like, well, no, because they didn't exist that time. So a Jew sued him in New York, and he won the case. Yeah, so that one has been proven in court, not all to be lies. The girl did die, but she didn't die of what they said. It's quite clear she died of typhus when the Allies bombed the supply lines to the work camps, which caused starvation and mass disease. That's what happened. No gas chambers. Of course no gas chambers. If you can't even get food, why would you be messing about trying to get gas? I mean, it's just stupid. If you're too weak to dig a hole, but you can sort of acquire a load of gas and herd people into chains and start dragging them up, it's just so stupid, it's unbelievable. But anyway, people will continue to believe it until the day they die, despite the fact it's been completely debunked a million times over. Anyway, so we've got a situation here. The LGBT pendulum, they've had their fun with it. We've had the Elton John, I've covered Elton John, first gay to be married but secretly be gay but be very famous. Then, I'm not saying he's gay, I'm definitely not saying he's acting as gay, I'm not saying he's not gay, I don't care if he's gay, right? The point is, so he's the first person to be openly gay who's really famous. Then, probably other things I've missed. Then the next thing, he's the first gay to get married. Not that you can get married if you're a gay, because you just can't, right? So that's just stupid, right? He's the first one to get married. And remember, they're saying because they're just the same as everyone else. And then he's the first gay to get all these surrogate children, or adopted. Are they surrogate or adopted? I don't know. So the whole point of marriage was to keep, well, one of the main things that's good about marriage and blocking men from pretending they can get married, or lesers from pretending they can get married, is to protect children, because they're very bad at looking after children, and they're not a normal couple, and they've got a very high rate of domestic violence. Lesbians are the highest domestic violence, followed by homosexuals, who are male homosexuals, and they're very promiscuous. if they're even active at all. A lot of them just do it as a kind of lifestyle cover, so people just leave them alone. So I know about that. They're also much more likely to be paedophiles. Statistically, most of them aren't paedophiles, or at least they don't go for little children. They go for like underage young men, stroke boys, adolescents, right? If they go for them at all, and a lot of them don't. But there's mega pedos in the homosexual community, which is completely protected by the gay movement, not by the gays as a demographic, but by the gay movement, because it's set up by gays who are also paedophiles, like Harry Hay, who is an admitted NAMBLA member, North America Man-Boy Love Association, which is a bit like PI in England, Paedophile Information Exchange, which all the MPs, a lot of whom happen to be Jewish, which is obviously just a complete coincidence, were all in as well. And some of those MPs still serve in Parliament today, but that's fine, because love is love and all that stuff. Anyway, so the pendulum is swinging back. The pendulum is going to swing back. They've decided at the same time as all of the black people are now bad, they're going to start reporting on any single thing that happened. It's going to be race and Muslim specific. It's a Muslim, it's a brown person, they're savages, right? They've attacked somebody. Not the normal drivel about the age and the occupation of the person they've stabbed or raped, or stabbed and raped, or done whatever else. It will be pictures of blacks, pictures of brown people, endless tirades about Muslims and moderate Muslims, not that there's any such thing, just misguided Muslims who don't know what the Muslim religion is, exactly the same as you get Christians who don't know what the Christian religion is. There's no such thing as a moderate Christian. And then you've got extreme nutcase Christians who are like, you know, in the Bible Belt in America, but they're not actually Christians, are they? And then you've got every single religion, it's the same. The only defence of being in the religion is you don't know anything about it. So, well, I don't think they do. I'm not into any of that stuff. That's the same answer most normal people give to every single religion, right? Anyway, so the pendulum has swung. They're going to start the race baiting, and now they're pulling the plug on all of these disgusting people who've been supporting all this pro-paedophile stuff. I would cheer it on, and I sort of do cheer it on, but you see, you've got to understand that when you've got a massive demographic of the society who are just completely useless, they're just making up the numbers, they have no morals, they have no intelligence, they have no capacity for individual thought, it will cause upset, it will cause polarisation. There'll be various upsides to it for people who can exploit it, which I'm not saying is bad. I think it's good, because, you know, they put themselves in a position, you know, they had morals and they thought for themselves, and they didn't just be complete cowards who just want to go along with the crowd with all the other sheep to think that will help them. Then that's their own fault, you know, they've got to live with that, and when they're dead their soul will have to deal with it, won't they, or not. But at the minute this pendulum is swinging. They're hitting a race thing, the Muslim thing, and they're trying to cause problems. And the LGBT thing is a very important one, because that has sucked so many people in, so they're all actually what would be considered nonces 50 years ago. You know, they wouldn't be allowed anywhere near children. 9 out of 10 teachers in schools. If people 50 years ago knew what they were going along with in schools, they would be strung up, right? That's as simple as that. Teacher is just synonymous with nonce now. It's because they're so thick, they've gone along with so much stuff that there's no way getting out of it. If you see something completely disgusting and you go along with it, then you are culpable. So that's it. It's like, look, let's use the Nuremberg Code. If you see something going on and it's wrong, you mustn't do it, no matter what the orders are. That's what the concept was and remains. I know the Nuremberg Code was a kangaroo court, but this is the you know, the de facto standard, and of course it should follow for all. Well, why should it not affect people who are like misguiding the youth and encouraging sexual offences against them and committing sexual offences against them by teaching them about stuff which is age inappropriate and shouldn't even be taught in schools or nurseries? So I've been Tom Kyle. I knew the pendulum was going to swing. The riots in France with the burnings, I think yesterday, it's all part of it. It's all orchestrated. It's all part of the European project and the Kalergi plan. And remember, before World War II, why did everybody like Hitler? They liked Hitler because he got rid of all of the nonces and he burned all of the nonce literature and child pornography in big fires. The fact that it was all Jewish doesn't mean it was an attack on Jews. It was an attack on perversion. Remember, Jews were allowed to bear arms in Germany up until almost the war. Gypsies weren't, Jews were. If he was really aiming at Jews, he was working for the Jews to get them to go to Israel, yeah, so there was an element of terrorising Jews. He was Jewish himself, which is why he destroyed the Austrian cemetery, the Austrian Jewish cemetery where his family were all buried. But you see, this is what's happening. They're trying to completely denigrate the rest, make the police look stupid, make all the MPs look stupid and disgusting, and make all the judiciary look stupid and disgusting, make all the media look stupid and disgusting, and then there'll be Putin there talking sense, and everyone will like seek out right-wing solutions to a degenerate problem, which is the only way to go, frankly. Especially if you take people's rights of self-determination away and you put things like police in, because in the old days you used to have magistrates, you didn't even need police, because people, it was incumbent upon you as a peasant or a middle-class free person, whatever, you still had to enforce the law yourself, which didn't mean vigilantism, it meant catching the person and taking them to the magistrates, which is exactly what the police do. And if the person pulls out a sword and starts trying to poke you with it, well, I suppose you could run off and get a militia and chase them down, or you'd have to fight back. You couldn't just run away and forget about it. That wasn't allowed, you see. The police function has just been stolen off the people so that it can be subverted. It's always been there in every society. You can't just let bad people do things and not do anything about it, or you'll be blamed. You'll be guilt by association. So that's what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot more of this. You watch. There won't be a single negative news story without a black or somebody wearing some sort of like something indicating that they're a Muslim on their head or something. There won't be a single one of them. Every news story, every rape, it will be like blacks did this, blacks did that, Muslims did this, the blah 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 blah. They're going to get come down. They're going to get come down. They're going to have people coming down on them very hard now, and it's all to split things up. It's not for your benefit. Look, I know they shouldn't have got them all in the country, but now that they're here, they're just using them against you. They're like sandpaper against another bit of sandpaper. Yeah? Rubbing against from either side, rubbing each other down. That's what's happening. Okay, thanks very much. I'm Tom Cahill. It's Saturday the 27th of July 2024. I'd like to know what you think. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.